Ito ang inyong lingkod na nagbabalik upang magbigay ng mga balitang walang bias at pawang katotohanan lamang. Ito ang Payang Pinas. Ngunit bagong lahat, kung bago ka pa lamang sa ating channel ay syempre huwag mong kakalimutan na mag-subscribe muna, pindutin ang notification bell at piliin ang all upang lagi kang maging updated sa ating mga bagong videos na ina-upload araw-araw. At syempre, maraming salamat na rin po sa ating mga solid viewers sa walang sawang pagsuporta. Huwag na huwag rin din pong kakalimutang mag-iwan ng like at i-share ang ating mga videos upang maging aware din ng ibang tao sa kung anong nangyayari sa ating bansa. At kung mayroon ka naman pong opinion or di kaya hinaing, ang ating comment section po ay bukas para sa inyong mga saloobin. Laging tandaan, bilang residente ng bansang Pilipinas, ang ating opinion ay dapat marinig at mapakinggan. Ito na nga mga kaibigan, atin nang panoorin ang kabuuan ng video.
Congresswoman Garin for a much overtime question. I would like to just commend the Deputy Majority Leader for her very vivid description of corruption in this country, no? Which is already hyper-pandemic, sabi nga niya, no? And I also would like to commend our ombudsman for repeating his call for a God-fearing values in the schools. I just would like to inform our good ombudsman that when I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer. But there's a greater calling that I accepted to be a pastor of a church. But you know, I have a doctorate degree in theology. And when you have a doctorate degree, you study Jewish law. Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, Mr. Ombudsman, Jewish law is very simple. Dito po sa ating bansa, napakaraming batas. And I remember a statement of one of very prominent lawyers in Europe that the more laws you have, the greater corruption that you're going to have. I do not know if you would accept that, Mr. Ombudsman. But you know, Jewish law is very simple. We have the moral law, which is the constitution of Jewish law. And we only have the civil code and the plenary and the penal code at the same time. And it's ceremonial law. I think nakakahiya man sabihin, Mr. Ombudsman, that the Philippines is the only Christian country in the Far East. But violence and crimes in this country seems that there is no effect on being the only Christian country. That's the reason why whenever I am allowed to teach and preach, I would rather speak on a personal relationship with God rather than religion. Because religion cannot even change a man, Mr. Ombudsman. So I'm so glad that you raised that issue up. Right now, I would like to recognize my kababayan, our independent minority leader, Representative Edsel Lagman, for his interpellation. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your pontification. We welcome that advice from you. Mr. Chairman, like in previous years, I fully support the proposed budget of the Office of the Ombudsman. Consequently, I do not have budgetary questions. But I have some policy or procedural questions. So many, Mr. Chair, lauded the Honorable Ombudsman for filing graft cases against formerly officers and the government officials involved, like the office of the PSDBM. However, many yet faulted the Ombudsman for not filing plunder cases against the respondents. And I agree with the Ombudsman that plunder is not indictable in these cases under Republic Act number 7080, which defines and penalizes the crime of plunder. May we hear a more elaborate explanation from the Ombudsman why these respondents were not sued for plunder?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, the reason why what was filed was only violation of the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, particularly Section 3E, and not plunder is because, per the decision of the Supreme Court, in the Macapagal Arroyo case of Macapagal Arroyo versus People, where the opponent is now Executive Secretary Bersamin, they said that the plunderer must be identified. In this case, the plunderer is not identified. Secondly, there is no evidence on record or even a testimony that Leong or Lau or any of the respondents in the Farmally case, I'm referring to the test kits, receive commissions or kickbacks. The test kits were all delivered and received by the government. The government paid about 4 billion pesos with respect to the test kits. Now, in the case again of Erap Estrada, of President Estrada, the Supreme Court also said that the co-conspirators must likewise be identified. So who conspired with Leong? Who conspired with Lau? Again, it's not identified. Was it Farmally? Was it any of the officers of Farmally? There is no evidence on record for that. So what we decided, or the investigators recommended, which I approve, was only the filing of graft cases against these PSDBM officials or other government officials involved in this supply of test kits, Your Honor.
Moreover, Honorable Ombudsman, in plunder, the accused is a government official who has an ill-gotten hoard of not less than 75 million. And it is not against private individuals. Is this correct, Mr. Ombudsman?
Yes, Your Honor, that there is nothing on record about amassing of wealth by any of these government officials, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, some also faulted the Ombudsman for not filing graft charges against perceived other malefactors and the more superior government officials. Can we have your comment on this, Mr. Honorable Ombudsman?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, please. It is very clear from the statements of former Senator Richard Gordon. He was mentioning about former President Rodrigo Duterte and a certain Michael Yang. But there is again no evidence on record that the former president is involved in the purchase of the test kits. On the matter of Michael Yang, there is no concrete proof or evidence that Michael Yang is also involved in the supply of the test kits, except that the fact that Michael Yang initially funded the purchase by Farmally of the test kits, or initially lent money to Farmally to purchase the test kits. So these are all insufficient, this evidence are insufficient to indict Michael Yang, and no evidence insofar as the former president is concerned, Your Honor.
With respect to the former president, it is said that he prevented some officials to attend the investigation. would this constitute evidence against the former president?
The action of the former president, Rodrigo Duterte, in preventing government officials from attending the hearing, the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearings, was more probably, I don't want to justify that, but it can be justified by the office of the president in so many reasons. In fact, it is stated that that is a presidential prerogative. But on the matter of him being involved, by relating this order of the president for them not to attend the Senate committee hearings cannot be translated, Your Honor, into an activity that is where the president is directly involved in the purchase of the test kits, Your Honor. So the investigators could not find any reason to translate this statement of the president, this prohibition for the government officials to attend the committee hearings, into one that would be chargeable under the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
Well, thank you, Honorable Ombudsman, for your answers. And I hope there will be more efforts to conduct similar investigations and prosecution of identical cases. Thank you.
Incidentally, Mr. Chairman, Your Honor, I'd like to inform the Honorable Congressman Lagman that we have not yet completed the investigation on Farmally with respect to the personal protective equipment, with this, the PPEs. We are still conducting investigation on the PPEs and the transfer of funds. So there are two more issues or cases being undergoing investigation in the Office of the Ombudsman, Your Honor. And soon it will be completed, Your Honor.
Thank you again, Honorable Ombudsman, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. If there are follow-up questions, you may want to give your questions.
Thank you, Congressman Lagman. I just would like to ask our ombudsman here. So, the ombudsman accepts cases filed against the private institutions, no? Or you expressly reject it and give it to the regular prosecutor?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, if the complaint against a private individual is in conspiracy with a government official, we entertain that. Otherwise, we dismiss the case because we have no jurisdiction over private individuals, Your Honor.
So that is the case of the family thing, no?
In Farmally, Your Honor, the officers of Farmally are charged in conspiracy with government officials, especially from the PSDBM.
So therefore, all of those who conspired in the family cases as individuals.
As individuals, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. I now would like to recognize Congressman P.D. Barsaga, my colleague in the NUP, better late than never. So, but before that, I do not want to yung bang iwasan tong magandang dilag sa katabi ko. Si Congresswoman Michi Cahayon. I'd like to acknowledge her present today. And would you like to say something?
Yes, very quick lang po. Very quick, Mr. Chair, and thank you for this opportunity. This representation had a previous case, and thankful to our Lord that I victoriously win, or the case was dismissed. However, Mr. Chair, there are some questions that might be involving yung internal process din ng ombudsman. So with that, Mr. Chair, I learned a lot on the proceedings of my previous case. So with the indulgence of this committee, may I request this honorable committee to please request or instruct the Ombudsman family to please come to my office to discuss some matters that will help me to file and legislate some rules or whatever for their internal matters, Mr. Chair, because what I experience is medyo may konting kinakailangan sigurong, if I may say, if I may use the word reform. It might be internal for them, but in this representation wanted to legislate some rules that on that matter, sir. So if I may request this honorable committee to please request the Ombudsman family or whoever could help me on my purpose, on my proposed legislation, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Would you allow that, Mr. Ombudsman?
If it's only in preparation of the bill, I am now assigning the Deputy Ombudsman for Luzon, Deputy Ombudsman Somido, and the Deputy Ombudsman for Moleo, Deputy Ombudsman Balmeo, to coordinate with your office with respect to the proposed bills that you want to file before this House.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, kasi kahit po ako ay nanalo dito sa kaso na ito and was dismissed for about how many years, marami po akong natutunang medyo pagkukulang tanggapin po sana natin ng Ombudsman. So maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair, and looking forward to that dialogue, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
The Special Prosecutor, Justice Elderberto Sandoval, has also volunteered to meet with you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Ombudsman, you noticed the statement of Congresswoman Michi, no? She even thanked the Lord. So even politicians are now mentioning the Lord. You see, perhaps because of my presence.
Yes, and they were both Christian, Mr. Chair. However, it's meritorious. I thank the justices of the Sandigan Bayan because ito po yung talagang personal ko. Wala po itong halong talagang meritorious po yung case at naipanalo po yun. Wala po akong ibang katulong kundi ang poong may kapal. Salamat po.
So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to recognize PD Barsaga for his short manifestation or short question, short.
A very short clarification, Mr. Vice Chairman. Well, I would just like to clarify. At present, what is the role of the Ombudsman insofar as PCGG cases are concerned?
With respect to PCGG cases, if it's a case against a PCGG official, it is the Ombudsman assumes.
It's supposed to be prosecuted by the PCG.
Well, it is the Office of the Solicitor General who handles the case for the PCGG, Your Honor. And not
They
the
are
Office of the
filing the
Ombudsman.
cases before the Ombudsman.
No, Your Honor. They file the cases before the Sandigan Bayan.
Before the Sandigan.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much for that clarification.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay na? Okay. I would like now, the second round na tayo dito, so I'd like to recognize Congressman Manuel, and after that, I would rather that the minority terminate the... I'd like to recognize our Deputy Speaker, former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this second round. Una, Mr. Chair, gusto ko lang pong i-reiterate yung tungkol po sa kanina, yung mga na-cite na cases. No? Na, again, while wala pa pong batas na particular for the tagging, we are at a point na tinetest po tayo ng current circumstances. Pwede naman pong mapanagot yung mga public officials mentioned kung gugustuhin po natin, lalo na naging rampant talaga ang iba't ibang forms ng tagging since the past administration. Now, yung isang case, Mr. Chair, ay filed siya ng human rights organization na Karapatan, and upon conferring with them, Mr. Chair, nabanggit po ng organization na wala pa silang natanggap na kahit anong document 3 years, magti 3 years na po after na-file nila yung kanilang complaint. So, and para din po manote ng Office of the Ombudsman, yung number po, Mr. Chair, nung kaso ay OMB-C-A-22-0088. Again po, Mr. Chair, OMB-C-A-22-0088. Other cases mentioned, Mr. Chair, were filed by the National Union of People's Lawyers, Ibon Foundation, Altermedia, and former representatives Caloy Zarate and Sara Elago. Again, Mr. Chair, NUPL, Ibon Foundation, Altermedia, former reps Caloy Zarate and Sara Elago. Now, Mr. Chair, for my second point, ito ay tungkol dun sa liquidation ng confidential funds. Yung naging responses po kanina, Mr. Chair, it sparked more questions in my mind rather than answers. Kasi po, kung ang nabanggit ay hindi ganon ka-particular dun sa receipts, ang office, napapareflect ako, Mr. Chair, kung paano din ba sa ibang mga ahensya din ng ating pamahalaan when it comes to the use or liquidation of confidential funds. Hindi po ba na-apply ng maayos yung Joint Circular 2015-01? Kasi kung wala pong receipts, ito po, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask, so ano po yung mga sinasubmit ng Office of the Ombudsman sa COA through its Intelligence and Confidential Fund Audit Unit? Ano po yung mga pinapasa? After po nagamit yung confidential fund, ano yung sinasubmit?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, ang sinasubmit po namin after every period is a certification kung saan po namin nagamit yung pera. We detail there kung ano ho ang mga pinaggamitan ng pera. And insofar as COA is concerned, the Office of the President, the Speaker of the House, and the Senate President, we have been compliant in the liquidation of our confidential fund, or in the report of our confidential fund, Your Honor.
Okay. With that, Mr. Chair, I have no further questions. Pero yung gusto na lang po nating ipahayag, Mr. Chair, na so far na-observe po natin kapag confidential funds sobrang luwag po sobrang lax po so far no ating mga regulations, and coming from experience din po na kapag reimbursements or cash advance, halimbawa ng mga student council sa ating SUCs, or halimbawa po yung mga SK din natin, na while may mga SK din naman na need pang mag-improve sa kanilang ginagawa, may mga SK naman na gusto sana makagawa ng maayos na projects, pero hirap na hirap pong ma-access yung kanilang funds, whether reimbursement or cash advance. Maging sa ibang mga government offices din, hirap na hirap po. Kaya this should this should spark din sa atin dito sa Kongreso na mas maging mahigpit talaga when it comes to confidential or intelligence funds. Yun na lang, Mr. Chair.
Would like to terminate this budget hearing for the minority, please?
Okay, Mr. Chair, in behalf of the minority, I move that we terminate the budget briefing for the Office of the Ombudsman.
Second.
Mr. Chair, on behalf of the majority, we join the minority in moving for the termination of the budget briefing of the Office of the Ombudsman.
Second.
Budget hearing, the Office of the Ombudsman.
Second the motion.
Right, it has been moved and seconded that we terminate the budget hearing of the Ombudsman. The motion is carried.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we suspend the budget briefing until 1:30 this afternoon.
It's suspended.